that will be done on a level that is much bigger than people can imagine.
Yeah.
And it really, you have to understand, every extraction process leaves a footprint. There's a footprint left behind in every extraction process, and it seems like full melt dry sift, isolated heads to 99.999% purity, are the smallest footprint I've been able to find in any cannabis extraction. It's like the holy grail of cannabinoid and volatile organic compound profiles, and it's coming to a town near you.
With capital, you can do the research that allow you to innovate those technologies.
There's definitely people that I know over the years that have worked in ultrasonics. I know one guy that's really heavy into it, using standing waves and more than one at different angles. And this guy was a drum tech for that Motley Crue drummer, Tommy Lee, for years. And so he's a real sort of savant type character. And he showed me a screen where water was going through it, and it was just coming out really bad the way it would, and then he put these 3 standing waves on, and the water just started going right through the screen without being affected in any way, shape, or form that the screen was there. So there are
Does that mean
things
I don't have to pull bags anymore?
I mean, wouldn't that be nice?
You can actually keep the trichromes in suspension and allow the water to flow through the screen at a much faster rate.
This guy's been working on that very thing for quite a few years. He hasn't quite figured it out. The concept is sound, but it doesn't exist in reality yet. I played with vibrations, sonic vibrations, years ago, and all I could really do was create different patterns on this black plexiglass board that I had with the dry sift that I had on the board. And one time I found a frequency that created a little mountain, and then around the mountain was a moat, a round donut, and I ended up smoking them both, and the donut one was substantially stronger than the little mountain one. It wasn't anything like full melt dry sift. That is something different.
Yeah, this goes into the whole kind of research process cycle, right? And about a decade ago, when we down in the States, you were actually able to start, bringing on investors, getting businesses, getting licenses. The minute you can start bringing on investors, now I'm not relying on my harvest to pay for my lab equipment. I can actually bring on an investor and buy a piece of equipment to process the essential oils coming from various industries: essential oil industries, food industries, drug industries, pharma industry, etc. But we can actually start investing in these pieces of equipment, running these pieces of equipment to start figuring out, okay, the first round of extraction was producing what was later called earwax or wax. It was a lot more potent than flour, but it did have a fairly high lipid content. So people that were doing gram dabs of it were developing what was known as lipid pneumonia in the upper esophageal tract, so getting waxes in your lung. And then you start coughing it out, causing upper respiratory issues. Now, that led to what we called winterization. Hey, if we take this solvent, chill it, those waxes turn solid, we can filter them out. That led to things like shatter and some of the sauces, when we started realizing that we could purge these solvents out and start using, while the oils are in solution, using that solution to start filtering out some of those undesirables. What I think came after shatter was probably the pesticide remediation, because so first CRC, but that led to, CRC is short for column remediation chromatography. It's using a type of sand that has special characteristics that can actually absorb or release different compounds based on the polarity of the solution. And long story short, it's a filter media that can remove or capture the undesirables and allow the desirables to run through.
And from a reduction point of view, we're almost forced to use it to some extent
just like diamonds.
Yeah, just like diamonds, you're almost forced to use color remediation, but
You oftentimes lose some of those desirable terpenes because
there's an
they
issue
also
with
get
using
absorbed.
them. You can lose some terpenes built into it.
Now, what ended up happening is we started learning about removing
And that's also adapted
pesticides.
from the wine industry.
Yeah.
We adapted that CRC from the wine industry.
So all of a sudden we're removing all these undesirables like pesticides and microbes, contamination, etc. And that led us down that chromatography pathway that allowed for many of the clandestine and licensed chemists down in the States to start producing products like isolates, so THC or CBD isolate. And then all of a sudden the laws in the States changed, allowing for us to grow large scales of hemp. And all of a sudden, instead of extracting a couple of pounds, we're building extraction facilities to extract a couple of tons.
Which sparked what you just said as our future. We're doing nitrogen extraction, and that is, you're pulling up a truck with nitrogen and extracting it on the field. Those runs are thousands of kilograms at a time. So just to get your scale, in the past, I've done
2 acres a day.
Yeah, maybe 2 kilogram runs in the past, and I could do like 8 to 10 of them, depending on what kind of machinery we have. You do a little bit more, that's 2,000 kilograms in one run, and that takes like an hour. And they go on to the next one. They're harvesting acreage after acreage, and separating it all. That's currently happening this year. I'm sure that we'll see the first results of
Well, and I think because you have to send it through while we're developing those large-scale processes, obviously producing a isolate or a distillate from CBD hemp came before higher quality CBD hemp extracts or even smokable CBD flowers. Because I could grow 110 acres in a big pivot, plant it, feed it once, grow it for less than an acre, then I grow my 4 plants at home, and blast all of it, produce it into those isolates that we can then turn into manufactured products. Do I like smoking isolate? Absolutely not. But there is a massive growing industry of manufactured products.
Well, it's pharmaceutical. All those end up
Food-
being
food and
pharmaceutical
pharma.
grade things, and so from a industry point of view, that pharmaceutical is now in Canada. We're allowed to ship it around the world, and let's pick out Germany as one of the emerging markets out there. It's going to be purely pharmaceutical. We're not going to allow anything else. We're not going to be able to send them any other product because they're built around the pharmaceutical side of it. So there is an incredible place for it.
And as new markets come online, what I'm seeing in the kind of the emerging markets is they'll allow CBD because CBD doesn't cause the intoxication that THC does. They'll allow hemp farmers to start cultivating, and then after a couple of years, once they have the analytical testing labs, once they're realizing people aren't overdosing on CBD, then they'll start allowing some form of medical, then some form of recreational as they get the infrastructure for regulation. We're going through that same learning process here. We're in one of the first iterations of the law here in Canada, but that law is going to be ever growing and ever changing. We need to be able to articulate to the legislators here in Canada what's good, what's not working for us, because as they do these reviews every couple of years, they're going to be able to actually fix a lot of the problems.